program today. Mrs. Reema B. Roby, Diplomat, Mauritius High Commission. Dr. Richa Sharma, Deputy Director, ICSSR.
Hello.
Professor Balram Pani, Dean Colleges, he'll be joining soon. Dr. Vikas Gupta, the Registrar of the University. Professor Neera Agnimitra, the Convener Centenary Celebration Committee of the University. Professor Gajendra Singh Ji, the Head of the Department of African Studies. All other dignitaries of the dais, principals, deans, faculty, students, and other university officials. The University of Delhi has turned a century old. It has been an impactful journey of 100 years. Celebration of the university, its ethos and values is done through the renunciation of the university song, that is the Kul Geet of the university. The university will remain indebted to our visionary Vice Chancellor, Professor Yogesh Singh Ji, for giving this Kul Geet to the university. Jayati Jai Jai, Jayati Jai Jai, Gyan ka Alok Anupam, Shresht Sundar, Divya, Delhi Vishwavidyalaya Vihangam. I request everyone to stand at your places for the Kul Geet as it is being sung by students of the music faculty of the university under guidance of their faculty members.
Jayati Jaya Jaya Jayati Jaya Jaya Gyan ka Alok Anupam. Jayati Jaya Jaya Jayati Jaya Jaya Gyan ka Alok Anupam. Shresht Sundar Dev Delhi Vishwavidyalaya Vihangam. Shresht Sundar Dev Delhi Vishwavidyalaya Vihangam. Jayati Jaya Jaya Jayati Jaya Jaya Gyan ka Alok Anupam.
सकल वसुधा निज कुटुंब की भावना संस्कृति सनातन आधुनिक शिक्षा पुरातन ज्ञान धाराओं का संगम
देश की स्वाधीनता हित भूमिका शतकोटि वंदन निष्ठा कृत सत्यम के मंगल दिव्य भावों का समागम जयति जय जय जयति जय जय ज्ञान का आलोक अनुपम
भव्य महाविद्यालयों के परिसरों से चिर सुशोभित श्रेष्ठ गुरुजन कर रहे नित्य छात्र और छात्राएं दीक्षित
सदचरित्राचार पावन साधना संकल्प संयम नवल वैश्विक चेतना नव शांति संस्कारों का उद्गम जयति जय जय जयति जय जय ज्ञान का आलोक अनुपम श्रेष्ठ सुंदर देव दिल्ली विश्वविद्यालय विहंगम जयति जय जय जयति जय जय ज्ञान का आलोक अनुपम ज्ञान का आलोक अनुपम ज्ञान का आलोक अनुपम
Thank you, everyone. Now we have the auspicious lamp lighting ceremony, which is a tradition of this magnificent country, Bharat. I request the Vice Chancellor, sir, and other dignitaries on the dais to proceed for lighting the lamp. Invocation of Ma Saraswati, the goddess of all arts and knowledge. Today also happens to be Hanuman Jayanti, Hanuman Janmotsav. बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरो पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि करूं कलेश विकार।
ॐ गणपतये नमः। ॐ गणपतये नमः।
भगवती सुर भारती तव चरणों प्रणमामः। जय जय हे भगवती सुर भारती
तव चरणों प्रणमामः। नाद ब्रह्ममयि
जय वागेश्वरी
नाद ब्रह्ममयि
जय वागेश्वरी शरणं ते गच्छामः। जय जय हे
भगवती सुर भारती तव चरणों प्रणमामः। आसीना भव मानसहंसे आसीना
भव मानस हंसे
कुन्दकुलिन शशिधवले
हर चरता पुरो मोदि विकासम
हर जड़ता पुरो मोदि विकासम श्री पंकज तनु विमले। जय जय हे भगवती सुर भारती तव चरणों प्रणमामः। नाद ब्रह्ममयि जय वागेश्वरी नाद ब्रह्ममयि जय वागेश्वरी शरणं ते गच्छामः। जय जय हे भगवती सुर भारती तव चरणों प्रणमामः। तव चरणों
And now we begin the program with the felicitation of our honorable guests, a token of our gratitude for their gracious presence. I invite Professor Gajendra Singh to welcome the chief guest of today's program, the Vice Chancellor of the University, Professor Yogesh Singh, the fountainhead of the positive energy in the university. The ecosystem of the university has changed during this 1 year, more than 1 year. And now we welcome Mrs. Rima B. Robi, the diplomat from Mauritius High Commission, who is representing the Honorable High Commissioner of Mauritius to India. Ma'am, we welcome you. And also we present to you the centenary volume of the University of Delhi. Dr. Richa Sharma, Deputy Director, ICSSR. Ma'am, welcome you to the university. Through the traditional Angvastra plant and the commemorative volume of the University of Delhi. Thank you, Professor Gajendra Singh ji. The topic of the international conference is Mahatma Gandhi and Gandhism today, emerging India's relations with Africa. What an apt topic it is. Africa and Gandhi are inseparable. Mohandas became a Gandhi in Africa. A suited booted gentleman to a dhoti clad leader, it became in Africa. A professional lawyer became a social activist, and the most influential leader in India, it was in Africa. In fact, all the civil society movements across the globe owe their origin to Gandhi and Gandhism. Phoenix Farm near Durban is considered the birthplace of Satyagraha. Today is also a special day which has much significance in this context. On this day, on 6th April 1930, the Dandi March had culminated in Dandi. They say Gandhi was born in India, but he was made in Africa. In this backdrop, I invite Professor Gajendra Singh to give the welcome remarks. Sir.
Good afternoon to all of you. On the behalf of the Department of African Study, I would like to express my gratitude and warm welcome to our chief guest, Professor Yogesh Singh Ji, Honorable Vice Chancellor, University of Delhi. Mrs. Rima B. Robi, Diplomat, Mauritius High Commission. Dr. Richa Sharma, Deputy Director, ICSSR, New Delhi. Professor Balram Pani Ji, Dean of Colleges. Professor Sri Prakash Ji, Director, South Campus. Professor Neera Agnimitra, Convener, Centenary Celebration Committee. Our special guest, Mr. Louis Kumabe Omeng, Deputy Head of Mission, Ghana High Commission. Mr. Edson Mayo, Diplomat, Embassy of the Republic of Zimbabwe. Tahina, Embassy of the Republic of Madagascar. And High Commission of Republic of Zambia, Mr. Stephen Sechole. Deans, heads of various departments, principals of colleges, my fellow colleagues, dear scholars and students, media persons, we are organizing this international conference on Mahatma Gandhi and Gandhism today, energizing India's relation with Africa with an aim to offer all scholars and academicians a crucial opportunity to participate, improve, learn, discuss, and acquire new knowledge. I would take this opportunity to formalize you all with the Department of African Studies, which was established in December 1954 and formally inaugurated by first Prime Minister of India on August 6, 1955, with a mandate to promoting awareness about Africa. The department undertakes multidisciplinary teaching and research studies leading to MPhil and PhD degrees of the University of Delhi, along with certificate and diploma in Swahili language. I take immense pride in sharing that the department has also introduced 2 new courses from this academic session: MA in African Studies and postgraduate diploma in international trade with Africa. The department provides a forum for fostering mutual understanding, friendship, and cooperation between people of India and Africa. The department extends beyond its primary function of acquisition and dissemination of knowledge to promotion of India-Africa relations. The department provides opportunity to research scholars to interact with different stakeholders, including policy makers, business community, and for other foreign delegates. African Studies is an area study program which involves multidisciplinary teaching and research. Apart from traditional classroom teaching, interactive pedagogy is pursued through students' engagement in presentation, discussion, and other academic interaction. The department's regular organized international level special lecture series as a part of the celebration of the centenary year of University of Delhi and Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav to commemorate the 75th year of the Indian independence, along with celebrating G20 presidency. The department also publishes a biannual peer-reviewed academic journal dedicated to multidisciplinary research on Africa, known as Indian Journal of African Studies. And it is my pleasure to announce that we are going to launch the April-October 2022 edition of our journal today, which is a special centenary edition on this platform, and I request our Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir or other dignitaries to do the honor. Once again, on the behalf of the department, I would like to thank all the distinguished guests for taking out time from their busy schedule and to all others for their active participation. साथियों, जैसा कि हम सभी जानते हैं कि हमारा 2 दिन का इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस आज से शुरू हो रहा है। वीसी सर अभी इनॉग्रेशन कर रहे हैं, ये सेशन इनॉग्रेशन सेशन है और हमारे भारत के अफ्रीका के साथ लंबे समय से बहुत प्राचीन काल से संबंध रहे हैं। पहला साक्ष्य हमें मिलता है 6 AD के आसपास, 60 AD के आसपास इरिथियन पेरिप्लस ऑफ द इरिथियन सी में हमें इंडिया अफ्रीका के रिलेशन के बारे में जानकारी मिलती है। तो हम जान सकते हैं कि कितने प्राचीन रिलेशन भारत के अफ्रीका के साथ रहे हैं। इतिहास में क्या था, वर्तमान में क्या है, भविष्य में हम अपने इन रिलेशंस को किन ऊंचाइयों तक ले जाएंगे, यही हम सब 2 दिन के अपने इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस में डिस्कस करेंगे, तय करेंगे क्या क्या फाइंडिंग्स होंगी। तो एक निदा फादली जी ने कहा है कि मैले हो जाते हैं रिश्ते भी लिबासों की तरह, मैले हो जाते हैं रिश्ते भी लिबासों की तरह, दोस्ती हर दिन की मेहनत है, चलो यूं ही सही। तो साथियों, चाहे रिश्ते व्यक्तिगत रिश्ते हों, चाहे 2 देशों के बीच में रिश्ते हों, उनमें मेहनत की जरूरत है, सहेजने की जरूरत है। जब लिबास हमारे चमक खो देते हैं तो उसको झाड़ पहुंचने की जरूरत है, वरना तो रिश्ते कुम्हालने लगते हैं। तो इसलिए मैं जो हमारी ये कॉन्फ्रेंस है, हम इसमें मोर देन 50 आर्टिकल्स हमारे पेपर प्रेजेंटेशन होंगे और इन सब में हम यही तय करेंगे कि भविष्य में भारत और अफ्रीका के रिश्ते किस दिशा में जाएंगे। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
भारत और अफ्रीका के रिश्ते में कोई मैल ना आए, उस नाते से जो आपने इस कॉन्फ्रेंस का आयोजन किया है, तो उसके लिए डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ अफ्रीकन स्टडीज का बहुत बहुत साधुवाद। Academics is primarily creation and dissemination of knowledge, which is fulfilled through research and teaching both. Here is a great moment in the history of the Department of African Studies that its journal is being released today. The special centenary issue of the journal is being released today. And I proudly share with you all that the journal is being published since 1982. They say it is easy to initiate a journal, but to maintain it for a long time is a real feat. And I congratulate the department for this big achievement. Please put your hands together. And now I request the dignitaries, the chief guest, to please release the journal. Thank you. Honorable Vice Chancellor of the University, Professor Yogesh Singh Ji. He is a visionary academic and administrative leader who has transformed various organizations in the past. This is our university's honor and privilege that he joined this university, and it is historical 100th year of the university, and as the chairperson of the Centenary Celebrations Committee of the university too, record academic and cultural programs have been organized in the university. Please put your hands together for that. Everyone around is awestruck by his brilliant leadership, and in informal circles we call him the Modi of the Delhi University.
No, don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to all of you. Mrs. Reema Ruby, Diplomat, Mauritius High Commission. Dr. Richa Sharma, Deputy Director, ICSSR, Ministry of Education, Government of India. Dr. Vikas Gupta, Registrar of University of Delhi. Professor Neera Agnimitra, Convener, Centenary Celebrations, University of Delhi. Professor Gajendra Singh, Head, Department of African Studies. Respected Deans, Head of the Departments, my international delegates, principals of different colleges of University of Delhi, teachers, officers, invited guests, and my dear gifted students, good afternoon to all of you. Today, first of all, I would like to congratulate Department of African Studies for organizing a conference on a topic which is relevant, important, interesting, meaningful and useful, Gandhi and Gandhism today, energizing India's relations with Africa. So there are three words, Gandhi, Gandhism and India's relationship with Africa. All are very, very important for all of us. But before discussing that, as we all know, Delhi University has completed 100 years and India has also completed 75 years of its independence. Congratulations to all of you. और गांधी को गए भी 75 years हो गए, गांधी को गए भी 75 years हो गए, and now after 75 years, University of Delhi through Department of African Studies is organizing a conference on a topic of mutual interest. I would like to thank again Department and Professor Gajendra Singh for such initiative. Those who are outsiders, like those who are not from University of Delhi, I would like to share that this is the historic building. This is Vice Regal Lodge, a historic building, and Gandhi came many times in this historic building. When Gandhi came many times, and when capital was shifted from Calcutta in British India, this was the residence cum office of the Viceroy of British India. 5 Viceroys stayed here from 1912 to 1931. When Rashtrapati Bhavan was ready, then the government of British India was shifted from this place. So this is a very, very historic place. Gandhi also came to St. Stephen's in 1929. And then he tried to energize the people of India for freedom movement. Then also Gandhi came again here, and Gandhi-Irwin Pact was signed in this building. The day was 5th March 1931. 5th March 1931, Gandhi-Irwin Pact was signed. Mahatma Gandhi and Lord Irwin, Viceroy of British India, both signed that pact. But 8 meetings were held here. It was not signed in a meeting, but 8 meetings were held here from 17th February 1931 to Fifth March 1931. And they spent more than 24 hours in all 8 meetings. Many people, many historians, political scientists can argue that there was hardly any outcome of Gandhi-Irwin Pact. Today is not the day to discuss the outcome of the Gandhi-Irwin Pact, but yes, in October 1929, Viceroy Irwin announced vague offer of dominion status for India, and this whole pact was in and around the dominion status. British government decided not to give us the dominion status, but Gandhi managed to have 90,000 political prisoners released under this pact. 90,000 prisoners were released. And I am also thankful that this pact was not successful. We could not get dominion status. We got full freedom. And we are very lucky that that was not successful. But the point, now coming to the point, is Gandhi relevant today? This is the question which is to be asked time and again. Is Gandhi relevant today? Is Gandhi important today? Is Gandhi meaningful today? तो इसके साथ एक कई बार मन में बात आती है कि गांधी को गांधी क्या बनाता है? गांधी बनते कैसे हैं? 3 शब्द हैं जो बहुत इस्तेमाल होते हैं, त्याग, सत्य और अहिंसा। त्याग, सत्य और अहिंसा। पर भारत में तो बहुत सारे लोग हैं जो त्यागी हैं, बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग हैं जो सत्य की बात करते हैं, सत्य में विश्वास भी करते हैं और अहिंसा में भी विश्वास करते हैं, पर वो सारे गांधी तो नहीं है। ऐसे बहुत सारे लोग हैं जो सत्याग्रह भी करते हैं। चौथा शब्द जो गांधी के साथ जुड़ता है, सत्याग्रह। सत्य, अहिंसा, त्याग और सत्याग्रह, all these 4 words are necessary but not a sufficient condition to become Gandhi. गांधी को गांधी बनाता है उनकी निडरता और जिद। गांधी को गांधी बनाता है उनकी निडरता और उनकी जिद। So if you want to become a Gandhi, then you should have right mix of satya, tyag, ahimsa, satyagraha, nidarta and zid. That's why in last 75 years we could not have another Gandhi. It is not easy to have Gandhi. It is not easy to afford Gandhi also. गांधी ने अपने लिए कुछ नहीं किया, गांधी ने अपनों के लिए भी कुछ नहीं किया। यासिर खान का एक शेर है कि आप नफरत को मोहब्बत से बदल सकते हैं, आप नफरत को मोहब्बत से बदल सकते हैं, ये वो सिक्के हैं जो हर दौर में चल सकते हैं। एंड गांधी वॉज द एक्सपर्ट ऑफ दीज सिक्का। नफरत से मोहब्बत में बदलने का सिक्का गांधी को चलाना आता था, उन्होंने खूब चलाया। कभी चला कभी नहीं चला, पर उन्होंने चलाने की हमेशा कोशिश करी। गांधी ने आजादी के आंदोलन में आम लोगों को गांधी ने जोड़ा, छोटे छोटे एक्सपेरिमेंट करके जोड़ा, छोटी छोटी बातों से जोड़ा और भारत के मन को आजादी के लिए गांधी ने तैयार किया। चरखा चलाओ, सूत कातो, खादी पहनो। अब वैसे सोचो तो उससे क्या होने वाला है, लेकिन कोई खादी का कुर्ता पहन लेता था, उसको लगता था कि मैं कहीं कुछ अपना कंट्रीब्यूशन दे रहा हूं इसमें। जो चरखा चला रहा है वो भी कंट्रीब्यूशन देता था। नमक आंदोलन हम सब जानते ही हैं, और अभी डांडी मार्च की जो बात करी, ये सब जो सिंबल्स थे ये गांधी ने आम आदमी को जोड़ने के लिए इस्तेमाल किए, और गांधी इसके एक्सपर्ट थे, और गांधी मैसेजिंग के भी एक्सपर्ट थे। हम सब जानते हैं जब गांधी जी 2nd राउंड टेबल में पार्टिसिपेट करने के लिए इंग्लैंड गए तो गांधी जी अपनी बकरी साथ ले गए, और जब शिप से गांधी उतरे और बकरी उतरी तो मैं भी कई बार सोचता हूं, यार बकरी गाय को साथ ले गए गांधी। ऐसा तो है नहीं कि गांधी का ट्रिप बकरी के बिना हो नहीं सकता था, पर गांधी बकरी लेकर गए। वो क्यों लेके गए उन्होंने कहीं लिखा नहीं है, तो हमको पता नहीं है कि वो क्यों ले गए, लेकिन पूरे इंटरनेशनल मीडिया में गांधी छा गए। अगले दिन गांधी भी छपे, बकरी भी छपी। ये गांधी को गांधी बनाता है। और विंस्टन चर्चिल ने इरिटेट होकर गांधी को जब कहा कि ये नंगा फकीर कहां से आ गया, तो उसमें बकरी का भी कुछ योगदान जरूर रहा होगा, क्योंकि वो तो बहुत एलीट था, ही वॉज फ्रॉम ए वेरी एलीट क्लास, और ही कुड नॉट डाइजेस्ट ए लीडर लाइक गांधी विद ए बकरी. But because Gandhi was expert of giving messages in India, outside India, and at an appropriate time. Now, if we want to think about Gandhi, कि गांधी है कहाँ, we will find गांधी नोट्स पे हैं, 500 रुपये पे है, 100 रुपये पे भी गांधी हैं, सब जगह हैं. गांधी राजघाट पे हैं, गांधी सरकारी दफ्तरों में भी टंगे हुए हैं. कभी कभी जो लोग न्याय मांगते हैं वो भी गांधी को याद करते हैं. कुछ लोग राजघाट पे भी जाते हैं गांधी को याद करने के लिए, कि सिंबल देने के लिए, सत्य अहिंसा का, तो सत्याग्रह का सिंबल देने के लिए राजघाट पे जाते हैं. लेकिन नीतियां, द बेनिफिट्स ऑफ पॉलिसी शुड गो टू द लास्ट पर्सन. दैट वाज द ड्रीम ऑफ गांधी फॉर इंडिपेंडेंट इंडिया. And I am happy to share that, and most of you know that Government of India is exactly doing the same thing. For example, benefit should go directly to the last person of the queue. Ujjwala Yojana, food security, Khad Suraksha. Food security, 82 crore people are directly getting something from the food security. It has never happened. गांधी क्या चाहते थे? कि मेरे देश में कोई भूखा ना सोए, मेरे देश में कोई भूखा ना सोए. गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया हैज एंश्योर्ड थ्रू दिस स्कीम, फूड सिक्योरिटी स्कीम, दैट कोई भूखा नहीं सोएगा. दिस इज व्हाट इज गांधी एंड गांधीज्म. बैंक अकाउंट, डीबीटी, आत्मनिर्भर भारत, दीज ऑल वर the ideas of Gandhi in different form, but now government of India is working very hard for implementation of such ideas. That's why Gandhi is relevant, Gandhi is important, and Gandhi is also a driving force in today's India. In 1893, Gandhi went to South Africa when he was only 24 years old. But when he came back in 1915, when Gandhi was 45 years old, जब अपने लिए थोड़ा नाम बना चुके थे, he spent around 22 years in South Africa. So गांधी को गांधी पार्ट 1 साउथ अफ्रीका ने बनाया. We would like to thank the people of South Africa for that. गांधी को गांधी बनाया. Now coming to the last part is relationship of India and Africa. Relationship of India and Africa, relationships are very, very important for India. I don't know whether it is that important for Africa, but I can surely say from Indian side that relationship is in the interest of India. Why? Africa is the home of the world's fastest growing and youngest population. 1 in 3 people born today is an African. 1 in 3. So fastest growing, youngest population. And 3 of the top 10 economies with fastest growing growth rate are in Africa. 3 out of 10 fastest growing economies are in Africa. And you know, if we talk about the performance of India in terms of economics, we got independence in 1947. Our size of economy, $1 trillion economy, we achieved in 2007. It took 60 years for India to have $1 trillion economy, 60 years. But in 2014, after 7 years, we became $2 trillion economy. And in 2019, India became $3 trillion economy only after 5 years. It means what? First $1 trillion we took 60 years. Next $1 trillion, 7 years. And third $1 trillion only 5 years. And prediction is by 2050, India should be the economy of $30 trillion. This will be the size of our economy if we are able to maintain the growth rate of our country. So after, it means what? $30 trillion means what? After 1930, India will add $1 trillion every year. Imagine we took 60 years to have $1 trillion economy. Predictions are that India will have $1 trillion addition every year after 1930 up to another 15 years. How? This is possible only with the help of Africa. I am saying with the help of Africa, not saying at the cost of Africa. Let me make it very clear. With the help of Africa, we will be able to achieve these targets because in terms of resource base, Africa holds 30% of the world's mineral resources, 8% of the world's natural gas, 12% of world's oil reserves, world's largest reserves of gold, 40%, largest reserves of cobalt, diamonds, platinum, uranium in the world, and 90% of the chromium and platinum is in Africa. See, understand the power of Africa. And if we have to do something very, very significant for India, then this collaboration can do wonders for us. That's why this relationship is very, very important for us. E-commerce and financial tech are driving the digital economy, and the mobile industry size is $132 billion with 500 million subscribers across the continent. See what is happening there. An International Renewable Energy Agency, IRENA, in the report said Africa could meet nearly a quarter of its energy needs from indigenous and clean renewable energy by 2030. Modern renewable amounting to 310 gigawatt could provide half the continent's total electricity generation capacity. It means what? Renewable energy will be very, very significant in Africa, in India also, and India is doing very well in that. So if we can replicate those studies in Africa and some of the countries in Africa, we will not only do good for Africa, but also do good for India. So the connection of India and Africa cannot be limited only to Gandhi, but Gandhi is a leading force for India and South Africa and Africa. Nelson Mandela, in a speech made in New Delhi, October 15, 1990, referred Gandhi as hero of both India and South Africa. We should be very, very sensitive about the ties and the bridge which Gandhi has made for us. We should take advantages of that bridge of emotions, bridge of commitment, bridge of sincerity between Africa and India. Gandhi was aware of the race prejudice of the whites and was against the Indians and Africans. On 25th October 1894, he wrote that the Indians do not regret that capable natives can exercise the franchise. They would regret if they were otherwise. They, however, assert that they too, if capable, should have the right. You, in your wisdom, would not only allow Indians or the natives the precious privilege under any circumstances because they have a dark skin. From here, we know India and Africa had same experiences under colonial rule. We suffered a lot. Africa and India, we both suffered a lot during colonial rule. But those days are over now. We should not worry about it, and we should work for the future, for the bright future. And Government of India is committed to pull out Africa from the politics of discrimination in direction of same steps that we should take. First is the trade. Trade between India and Africa grew from $68.6 billion in 2011, and now it has crossed $90 billion, or more than $90 billion, highest ever levels. India's 5 leading export destinations in Africa are South Africa, Nigeria, Egypt, Togo, and Kenya. India's 5 import partners from Africa are South Africa, Nigeria, Guyana, Egypt, and Angola. It means in terms of export as well as import, Both are doing very well. Only we have to strengthen that. Petroleum products are the largest export from India to Africa, accounting to more than 21% of India's total export. It means total 21% we are exporting to Africa only in 2023. Imagine when India will add $1 trillion every year, what will happen? And Indian exports to Africa also includes vehicles other than railways, tramways, pharmaceutical products, cereals, machinery and mechanical appliances. And Rima is from Mauritius. So Mauritius remains a leading investor in India. Mauritius remains the leading investor in India, which accounts for more than 26% of the India's overall FDI inflow. When I got these statistics, I was not aware of that. Like 21% inflow is from Mauritius. I would like to thank Madam and the High Commission that, such a wonderful number, 21%. South Africa and Morocco are some of the other African countries with significant investments in India. India can set up joint ventures for growth of both India and Africa. For example, banking and financial services. Now, India has the success story of UPI. We all know Unified Payment Interface. Every Indian is now doing the transactions through Paytm or Google Pay or similar platforms and applications. This is a real success story. We can replicate such success stories in Africa also, in many countries of Africa. So, banking and financial sectors, transportation, information, healthcare services, professional and technical consulting services, education and skill development. Now, Government of India has also decided that Indians, universities can also open their institutions in other countries, and vice versa also. They can also open universities in our country. It means what? In the coming years, some of good Indian institutions may open universities in different countries of Africa. That will also bring new tie-ups. Africa has about 25% of the planet's land mass, and if the potential of African agriculture was unleashed, it will have the sort of revolution that has occurred in other parts of the world. But it has not occurred in Africa. If they are able to do it, we should also find our role in that, because we have expertise in agriculture. We also have expertise in technology of agriculture. Then, if we are able to do so, this planet would not worry about food at all, because Africa would supply food to the entire planet. That is the power in Africa. Indian Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has placed the rapidly expanding partnership in the context of interlinked resurgence of India and Africa. He said, today the heartbeat of 1.3 billion Indians and 1.3 billion Africans are in rhythm. We will raise the level of our support for our vision of a prosperous, integrated and united Africa that is a major partner for the Made in New Delhi. पढ़ के बोलने में दिक्कत है कि कागज इधर उधर हो जाए, तो आई थिंक कोई बात नहीं. So Prime Minister said that the India and Africa, because we have many things in common, so many tie-ups are possible in education, healthcare, finance and banking. And I hope that in the coming years, new MOUs will sign in India and Africa, and both will be benefit. So this is the right time for a conference in a university like University of Delhi, which is a capital town of India. I hope that something good, something different will come out. When the experts will deliberate, they should find the areas of cooperation, collaborations for the welfare of both India and Africa. My good wishes to all of you, and good wishes to the conference organizers, and I am thankful that they have invited me to share some of my views. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, for such a relevant and superb address. So well organized, full of facts and figures, lot of specific information, and so effectively conveyed. A brilliant address indeed. It's always a treat to listen to your well-organized thoughts on diverse issues, sir. Thank you again. And now for the keynote address, I invite Mrs. Reema B. Roby, a diplomat from the Mauritius High Commission to India. Ma'am, please.
Good evening. Professor Yogesh Singh, Honorable Vice Chancellor, University of Delhi, Dr. Richa Sharma, Deputy Director, ICSSR, Ministry of Education, Government of India, Dr. Vikas Gupta, Registrar, Professor Neera Agnimitra, and Professor Gajendra Singh, Head of Department of African Studies, dear friends from the Diplomatic Corps, Excellencies and distinguished guests, Namaskar. I wish to present the apologies of the High Commissioner of Mauritius, His Excellency Mr. Hemant Dayal Dhilam, who could not be present today. As a former student of the University of Delhi, who would be very keen to be here, but unfortunately he had to attend a very important meeting, a G20 meeting. So I have the honor to deliver the following speech in his behalf. But before starting, as the Vice Chancellor said, that for India, Africa is important. So I would say that for us, for we African, India is equally important. So, Excellencies and distinguished guests, I will today share the humble thoughts and views on Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhism relates to India's dynamic relations with Africa in the contemporary context. I must admit that discoursing on such a towering and charismatic figure as the Mahatma Gandhi and on his teaching is in itself a daunting task. In an attempt to do so, I shall focus on the principle of Satyagraha, which I believe is universally recognized as being one of the greatest contributions of Mahatma Gandhi to the whole community. Satyagraha, the essence of Gandhism, is based on the essential precepts of Satya, that is truth, Ahimsa, that is non-violence, and Tapasya, willingness to self-sacrifice. It is a twist of destiny that Satyagraha, non-violence, and active opposition to injustice and discrimination was first practiced by Mahatma Gandhi on the African soil in South Africa. Through his peaceful resistance against the vicious race discrimination, Mahatma Gandhi has inspired leaders and nations in Africa and worldwide to stand for their rights and dignity. Mahatma Gandhi was a guiding light for many great leaders, such as Nkrumah, Nyack, Martin Luther King, Desmond Tutu, and Nelson Mandela. In fact, Mandela is often portrayed as the living legacy of Mahatma Gandhi, the Gandhi of South Africa. Mahatma Gandhi believed that so long as Africa was not free, India's freedom would be incomplete. Late Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Indian Prime Minister, and the ensuing Indian leaders were all firm believers and practitioners of the principle of the Africa-Asia solidarity. Today, as ever before, India continues to live up to Mahatma Gandhi's word. India has been in the forefront of the fight against apartheid and colonialism, at the regional and international levels, including within the non-aligned movement and the United Nations. Likewise, India stood firm by the side of Mauritius in its long-standing struggle to complete its decolonization process. If you allow me, I would like to seize this opportunity to reiterate the gratitude of Mauritius for the continued support of India in this respect. Africa has, for its part, consistently supported India's legitimate claim to a permanent seat at the United Nations Security Council. Ladies and gentlemen, based on shared principles of mutual respect, solidarity, and common experience, Africa and India have embarked on a path of close collaboration. These principles have laid the foundation of a strong political and economic partnership, thus paving the way for structured engagement crafted at the first India-Africa Forum Summit in April 2008. The third Africa-India Summit, held in New Delhi in October 2015, led to a strengthening of cooperation between the two sides in crucial areas including economic, trade and industry, renewable energy, blue and ocean economy, infrastructure, education and skills development, health and peace and security. Within this framework, India offered 50,000 scholarships under the Indian Technical and Economic Cooperation, the ITEC, and other scholarship programs. Thousands of African students are presently pursuing their higher studies in various Indian universities under the self-financing scheme. The government of India has been providing support to African countries to address the digital divide through its flagship scheme, E-Vidya Bharati for tele-education and E-Arogya Bharati for telemedicine, offering scholarships to 15,000 African students under this scheme to pursue online education in undergraduate, postgraduate, and diploma courses. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the government of India gifted 150 tons of medical aid to more than 25 African countries to support their response to the pandemic. Under the government of India's Vaccine Maitri initiative, India has supplied 37.59 million doses. And these doses, and there was 1.5 million doses under grant, 10.2 million doses under commercial, and 26.38 under Gavi COVAX initiative to 42 African countries, and 3,025,000 doses to the UN health workers and UN peacekeepers. The generosity and assistance of India, which at the peak of the crisis did not hesitate to assist African countries with consignment of essential medicines and food grain, is indeed laudable. India has continuously developed strong economic and trade links with Africa. After South Asia, Africa is the second largest recipient of Indian overseas assistance with line of credits. India has also extended over 2.26 US billion of concessional loans to the continent. Indeed, we are seeing increasingly the engagement of the Indian private sector in Africa, and one such successful partnership program between India and Africa has been the CII Exim Bank Conclave on India-Africa Growth Partnership. During the latest conclave held in July 2022, it was highlighted that India's bilateral trade with Africa reached 89.5 billion USD in 2022 to in 2021 to 2022 compared to the previous year, with cumulative investment of 73.9 billion USD from 1996 to 2021. India is among the top 5 investors in Africa. The implementation of the African continental free trade area will also certainly increase trade between Africa and India. In the same manner, the Comprehensive Economic Cooperation and Partnership Agreement, the SECPA, between Mauritius and India, the first of its kind between India and an African country, opened new vistas for business cooperation for both countries. More importantly, it is another step towards promoting trade between India and the African continent. At this point, it is opportune for me to highlight the instrumental role played by the Indian diaspora in the developmental journey of African countries, including Mauritius. Ladies and gentlemen, while Mauritius and India are this year celebrating the 75th anniversary of the establishment of their diplomatic relations, the ties between our two countries can be traced back even before 1948. When the first Indian indentured laborers landed on Mauritian shores around 1784. When Mahatma Gandhi visited Mauritius in 1901, he was deeply moved by the plight of the Indian laborers who were brought by the British government to work in sugarcane fields in very harsh conditions under indentureship. This was the primary reason why in 1906, during a brief meeting with Manilal Doctor in London, Gandhiji asked the latter to go to Mauritius and work for betterment of the indentured laborers to serve the poor and downtrodden. Throughout his interaction with several Mauritian leaders and personalities, including the 1910s and 1940s, Mahatma Gandhi encouraged them to work for the social, political, and economic betterment of all Mauritians. Gandhiji emphasized on non-violence over violence, on multiculturalism over monoculturalism, on pluralism characterized the relationship between India and Africa and the world at large. In the same spirit, India's contribution to the socio-economic development of Africa is unconditional. It is neither based on race or religion. The concessional loans, grants, and capacity buildings have played a significant role in Africa's development. In the case of Africa, the resounding success of the Metro Express project, which serves as a concrete model of cooperation for developing countries, demonstrates India's commitment to advancing meaningful South-South cooperation for the betterment of the whole population. Many of us in Mauritius are descendants of indentured laborers and descendants of slaves. We have preserved our values, our tradition, and our language. Education played a critical role in the promotion of our ancestors' values and cultural heritage. Together, we have come a long way as one people and as one nation. We have built a modern Mauritius where democratic principles, diversity, and plurality are upheld. And every single day, we pray to God that the existing peace and harmony prevail in our multicultural country. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, as a concluding remark, I wish to highlight that the India-Africa partnership has deep roots in history. We have been neighbors across the Indian Ocean for thousands of years. Africa and India stood by each other in the fight against apartheid and racial discrimination and continue to work together on crucial issues such as food and energy security. India and Africa can further enhance cooperation in the areas of digital scientific research and innovation, manufacturing and industrialization, as well as a particular focus on public health and prepare for any future pandemics. Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi has brought India's relationship with Africa to an even higher dimension through his 10 guiding principles, outlining a vision not only for bilateral cooperation, but also a partnership at the global level. The time is ripe for India and Africa to assume a higher role on the international scene. India's presidency of the G20 as the voice of the global south is a giant step in that direction. Mahatma Gandhi has shown us the way. We have to act on it now. In line with the philosophy of Vasudevam Kutumbakam, let us work together and closer to promote global peace and security and prosperity for the current and future generation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rima B. Roviji, for your gracious presence and an ensuring address, ensuring that India is equally important for Africa, ensuring that mutual collaborations and cooperation between India and Africa based on past shared respect and relationship between the two are the need of the hour. Wish India and Mauritius continue growing together in future too. And this relationship is sustained for multiculturalism, for plurality, for global partnership, for the idea of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And now, moving on to the next keynote speaker, Dr. Richa Sharma. She is Deputy Director, ICSSR, New Delhi. Madam has worked in this area, particularly this area, for around 2 decades, and she has a sort of expertise on the topic. Over to you, ma'am.
Namaskar. Thank you very much. Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor Yogesh Singh Ji, respected Dr. Vikas Gupta Registrar, High Commissions of Mauritius, Madagascar, Zimbabwe, Ghana, and other reputed African countries, leading professors of India, Dr. Adhyabhati Saxena, Professor Gajendra Singh, Professor Neena Agniatra, and very dear students, very respected principals, and very august gathering. Indeed, it's my pleasure to be the part of this wonderful 2 days international conference on Mahatma Gandhi, Gandhism Today, Emerging India's Relations with Africa. What a wonderful experience I had to be the part of South Africa working on the Gandhian thought on law and justice for almost the 2 years during the time of 150 years of Mahatma Gandhi's birth celebrations, getting opportunity to discuss about Nelson Mandela at that time, and back to India after 4 years, having an opportunity to discuss about factors that shaped Gandhi's perception of legal profession and principles of justice. Today I am going to talk about something what has been researched as some other aspect of Gandhi. Everyone knows Gandhi from the different perspective as a social, political leader, Indian father of Indian nation, and a propagator of the non-violence. I see Gandhi from the perspective of a lawyer, how he was a lawyer and how his ideas becomes very relevant to understand the new theories of law in the present time. This is called a Gandhian jurisprudence. So this work was an attempt to identify principles of law and justice which Mahatma Gandhi practiced, learned, observed during his life, and which gradually shaped Gandhi's perception of legal profession. Gandhi is well known for his moral, political, and economic ideas, political and social activist in South Africa, and as a great Indian nationalist. India's independent struggle against the British rule remains incomplete without discussing the role of Gandhi. Gandhiji was true visionary and inspired many movements, but professionally he was a trained lawyer, and his skills of advocacy and drafting played tremendous role in his public work in South Africa as well as in India. He practiced law for almost 20 years in South Africa, and this side of his personality remains less explored, less discussed, less deliberated to understand what tantamounts to Gandhian jurisprudence in 21st century. Born on 2nd October 1869 in a Bania family of Porbandar, Kathiawad of British India, The environment and political movement of the time influenced Gandhi's character as Mahatma. His upbringing helped him in understanding of his basic character. Religious teachings influenced his moral character of non-violence, and the influence of culture, especially the drama of Harish Chandra, left deep impression on his mind for the lure of truth. His legal advocacy helped him to become professional, skillful, trained for the present time, and to be understood by the young Turks of India in the 21st century. His early life, his father was Karamchand Gandhi, served as a chief minister in Porbandar and other states of Western India. His mother, Putli Bai, was deeply religious woman who fasted regularly. Gandhi grew up worshipping the Hindu god Vishnu and following Jainism, a morally rigorous ancient Indian religion that espoused non-violence, fasting, meditation, and vegetarianism. These four principles remains with the Gandhi's life throughout. A young Gandhi was a shy, like many of the students of present time. Unremarkable student who was so timid that he slept with the light on even as a teenager. At the age of 13, he was wed Kasturba Makanji, a daughter of a merchant. Although Gandhi was entrusted to become a doctor, but his father had hoped he would also become a government minister, so his family steered him to enter into the legal profession. And from there, his journey to become a barrister was begun. He got his legal education from Inner Temple, London, and he studied law from 1888 to 1891. At that time, the degree of the law was of 3 years, and it was easy to pass. Exams were held 4 times in a year. Students have to study Roman law and common law. Gandhi cleared all his exams in a first attempt and awarded degree in 1891 and sailed very next day back to India. But the question was whether the degrees were sufficient to understand and practice the law. He felt helpless and feared. It was easy to be at bar, but practice at bar was not a cup of tea. The two major difficulties what Gandhiji faced soon after becoming a lawyer was application of legal maxims in profession and no knowledge of British Indian laws. So there was a gap what he faced, which was there in the theory of education and practice of law that still exists even in the 21st century. Gandhi's career as a law is deliberated, discussed, and many a times it has been said that he was not a successful lawyer, but how you judge it, how you understand it without having a journey, without knowing and researching about the journey of a Gandhi being a lawyer in South Africa for 20 years. So no doubt, when you look into India, when he came back from London, definitely he struggled to set a good practice in India. He did not make much progress in the profession in early days of his career. He passed bar examination but had no knowledge of Indian laws and law of evidence. He was not a good mooter, indeed he was a shy. The another difficulty was apprehension what was there in the minds of Gandhi was Firoz Shah Mehta. Yes. Firoz Shah Mehta was a leading lawyer, social and political activist of the time. He used to roar like a lion in the court, and law of evidence was on his fingertips. The young Gandhi was extremely unconfident, and in his word, he stated that when he see Firoz Shah Mehta arguing in the court, he says, in his words, that it was out of the question for me ever to acquire his legal acumen, but I had a series of misgivings as to whether I should be able even to earn a living by a profession. This was a doubt, unconfidence which many of the students face in the early days of their career. And then he met a professor, Mr. Frederick Pinkert, and got a tips to become a good lawyer. He advised and he learns the first lesson to become a good lawyer or a good professional. The common honesty and industry of the things, knowledge of the world, and understanding of human nature. These were the first lesson what Gandhi learned as a lawyer from the Bombay High Court practices. Even after that, all the effort, Mr. Gandhi failed to maintain livelihood and dropped his practice in Bombay within a 6 months of time period and came back to Rajkot. He practiced drafting memorials in Rajkot and was quite unhappy as he had to give commissions to get cases. He was earning just 300 rupees a month, but it was just a beginning because destiny had a call to a coolie barrister in South Africa. His journey begins from Pretoria. It was a beginning of a new breath in his career. Gandhi went to South Africa in April 1893 and stayed there for a year in Pretoria in connection with the case of a Sheikh Dada Abdullah, who was involved in the civil suit with the near relative Sheikh Tayyib Ji Khan, who was also stayed in South Africa. Looking into the brief of the cases gives a clear glimpses how from the downfall to the upbringing or a boosting career was begun in the Gandhi's life. Dada Abdullah was the businessman in South Africa during the last decade of the 19th century. He was a domicile of Porbandar. One of his business partner had done some fraud in dealing, so he put a case in court of Pretoria. But all dealings had done in Gujarati language. So the English advocate did not understand the correspondence. Therefore, they wanted a helper who have a knowledge of Gujarati as well as some knowledge of law. And Mahatma Gandhi was thus selected by the Indian partner of Dada Abdullah and was sent to Pretoria. So, looking into his first case and how he got a mastery over the law by the practicing and studying the case. He said that, Mahatma Gandhi, I took a keenest interest in the case. Indeed, I threw myself into it. I read all the papers pertaining to the transactions. My client was a man of a great ability and response, absolute confidence in me. And this rendered my work easy. I made a fair study of bookkeeping. My capacity for translations was improved by having to translate the correspondence which was the most part in Gujarati. The preparation of the case was my primary interest, reading the law and looking up law cases when necessary and had always a prior claim on my time. As a result, I acquired such a grasp of the fact of the case as perhaps was not even possessed by the parties themselves, is in as much as I had with the papers of both the parties. Here it was that he had opportunity of learning public work and acquired some measures of his capacity for it. It was here too that he acquired the true knowledge of legal practice and learned the things that a junior barrister learns in a senior barrister's chamber, and also gained confidence that he would not after all fail as a lawyer. It was likewise here that he learned the secret of success as a lawyer, and the second lesson of a profession comes in his life. His case taught to him soft skills of being quick and apt in reasoning, as any lawyer trained mind has to be, and this comes when one possesses the basic understanding of the facts. He considered facts are 3/4 of the law. I have learned one thing, and it is this, that if we take care of the facts of the case, the law will take care of itself. Gandhi saw that the facts of the Dada Abdullah's case made his case very strong indeed, and the law was bound to be in his side. But Gandhi also saw that litigation, as it we see in the present time, if it were persisted, it would ruin the plaintiff as well as the defendant, who were relatives and both belonged to the same city. No one knew how long the case might go. This is the same situation what is happening in India even in the present time. So, can arbitration be suggested? Definitely. The another lesson what Gandhi's professional life suggests to us is a mediation and arbitrations. He advised both the parties for arbitration and its benefits. The case was argued before the arbitration, and Dada Abdullah, the Gandhi's client, was won. But that did not satisfy Gandhi. His client were to seek immediate execution of the award, and it would be possible for Tayyib Seth to meet the, it was impossible for Tayyib Seth to meet the whole of the award amount. And there was an unwritten law among the Porbandar Memons at that time living in South Africa that death should be preferred over bankruptcy. So he convinced his own client to recover the amount in the installments. The lesson which he has learned and practiced was following the path of truth, using the mode of arbitration, and outcome of the case was a humanity which shall prevail in all the professional lives. And that is what the principle of ethics in profession taught by Gandhi during this time. So these were the three lessons what he learned from the Pretoria. This was a time, Gandhi said that the lesson was so permanently burnt into me that a large part of my time during the 20 years of my practice as a lawyer was occupied in bringing about private compromises of hundreds of cases. I lost nothing thereby, not even a money, certainly not my soul. This gives an idea that why many a times people do not find a case studies available in the court laws about the Gandhi, because Gandhi always solved the cases out of court settlements, and that was the one thing which has become really prevalent and important during this time. Soon after the completion of this case, he was about to return, and the farewell was arranged for him during that time by Sheikh Abdullah. He was preparing himself for the farewell and about to go, and going through, sitting in the evening and going through the local newspaper, and that time he read something and he speaks about that. I was turning over the sheets of some of the newspapers and found there, I chanced to see a paragraph in a corner of one of them under the caption Indian Franchise. The bill then before the House of Legislature, which sought to deprive the Indians of their right to elect members in the Natal Legislative Assembly. This became a most important social movement of his time. Indians in South Africa were unaware about their political rights and how passing of such bill may harm their general interest. As an outcome of the Gandhi's intervention in this legislative event, the farewell party of Gandhi was turned into working committee to campaign against the bill. Gandhi was requested not to go and take lead in this social legislative movement which was going on. That was the beginning of the social legislative activist movement that has taken place in Pretoria, and from there were the many legislative movements which were in the favor of the Indian community which was existing in South Africa were taken up by him. We have seen that it was a time when three major legislation was passed because of the interventions of Gandhi, and that becomes one of the major role model for the study of the time period. This site was very less explored, and very rare records are available still in the University of Pretoria, University of South Africa, and many other universities which are existed since that time. The very important aspect related to Gandhi's part was I thought to share with this august audience. Talking about the relations with Africa in the present time, being the part of the education and the research system, I see there are the two very important and common things taking place here and in Africa. One is decolonization of education movement, and second is customary law in Africa. These two have a very much similarity, and as we see, there are many students of African origins are studying in India. We see large scope of having student exchange as well as faculty exchange program. Recently, in the last India's Independence Day, Modi ji has said Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, Jai Vigyan added by Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, and now it has been added as Jai Anusandhan. In this Jai Anusandhan, there is lot of scope, lots of opportunities to have research collaborations with the African nations, African countries. There is a lot of collaborations to do collective research for development of soft powers. Being the part of ICSSR, I take this opportunity and thanks to the University of Delhi to have a area or a scope where we can work together to have more of the research collaborations with the University of Delhi, through University of Delhi, with the African embassies and their leading universities of African continent. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Richa Sharma, for sharing your thought-provoking views on Gandhian jurisprudence. And thank you very much for giving us the offer of collaborative research, madam. We'll be happy to have more collaborations with you. Thank you. And now, moving on to the closing of the program, I invite Dr. Manish Karmawar from the Department of African Studies for a formal vote of thanks.
Thank you, ma'am, for inviting me. Today is the 6th April, and the same day Mahatma Gandhi and his volunteers broke the salt law on 6th April 1930. So somehow this is a very good day to initiate this conference. Thank you very much. Have a pleasant good afternoon to all. On behalf of department, faculty members, scholars, I, Dr. Manish Karmawar, would like to express my sincere gratitude to all of you for attending this event and making it a huge success. Thank you very much. We are honored to have had our most respected Professor Yogesh Singh Sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor of the University, inaugurate this conference as a chief guest. We thank him for his insightful remark, word of wisdom. I was amazed that Sir has given us political, historical, and as well as the Gandhi and Bakri remarks. So, Sir, wonderful, and thank you very much for having us, Sir. Now, our heartfelt thanks go out for all the distinguished guests who graced the occasion, including Mrs. Rima B. Robbie, Second Secretary, Mauritius High Commission, is not right now here, but SEO from Department of African Studies and India. We are going to enhance the trade and the mutual relationship between India and Mauritius. Again, I would like to thank Dr. Richa Sharma, Deputy Director, ICCSSR, and your thoughtful initiation, Gandhi, law and lawyer, and the out-of-court settlement about the Gandhi. Thank you very much, ma'am, for coming here and giving us this right way to proceed. Dr. Vikas Gupta, sir, Registrar, University of Delhi, Professor Neera Agnimitra, Convener Centenary Celebration Committee, University of Delhi, and her proficient team. Thank you very much. Their contribution and insights added immense value to the conference, and we are grateful to their support and participation. We'd also like to extend our special thanks to Mr. Louis Kwam Obeng, Deputy Head of Mission Ghana High Commission, and Itsan Mayo, Diplomat, Embassy of Republic of Zimbabwe to India, Ms. Tahina Rosa Moilina from Embassy of Republic of Madagascar, and other dignitaries from the various African nations. Thank you very much for coming and giving you your precious time. We acknowledge and thank all respected administrative and functionaries, deans, principals of different colleges, respected HODs, faculty members, senior administrative staff, other staffs for their guidance and support in spreading the word about the conference and ensuring the participation of the students and scholars from their respective institutions. Special thanks to Dean, Faculty of Music and their team for wonderful instrumental and the vocal performance. Thank you very much. We express our gratitude to all the participants who attended this inaugural session from various high commissions, embassies, departments, colleges. Your presence made this event a memorable and enhancing experience. We would like to thank the whole team of General Branch, Finance Branch, UCC, Garden Committee, Engineering Department, who ensured the event ran smoothly by providing excellent support and assistance. In conclusion, I would like to thank each of you for being a part of this session and making it a memorable experience. We hope that acknowledged here during session and we serve a stepping stone for the further future research and collaborations. I would like to invite you for the second day of this conference at University Guest House tomorrow at 10 a.m. And again, I'd like to finish by this 5 minutes experience with the few lines I dedicated to the 2 lines for India-Africa relation. हौसले जिंदगी के देखते हैं, चलिए कुछ रोज जी के देखते हैं, नींद पिछली सदी से जख्मी है, ख्वाब अगली सदी के देखते हैं. So this is the India-Africa era. So welcome you all. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Thank you.
And now my thanks to the thanksgiver, Dr. Manish. We all stand for the national anthem now. Afterwards, a group photo of the department and the organizing committee with the dignitaries. National anthem by the students of the music faculty.
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंग विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तब शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तब जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
The faculty members and the organizing team members are requested for a group photo. Quickly, please come for the photo. High tea is served outside. Thank you. Refreshment from the right hand side gate. You have to go from there. Thank you.